Getting older is something we all think about. But what if we could approach it with real strength, a super sharp mind, and just genuine vitality? Well, today, we're going to break down the secrets to doing just that. We're turning some powerful insights into simple habits you can start using every single day.
But before we dive into all the how-tos, let's just pause for a second. What are your biggest fears about getting older? Turns out, most of us are worried about the exact same things.
Yeah. If things like losing your physical strength, or your mental sharpness, or just your independence came to mind, you are definitely not alone. These are the 3 core fears that most people feel after 50. And look, they're real concerns. But the good news, the really good news, is that they absolutely do not have to be your reality.
And that right there, that's the big idea. This isn't about some losing battle against time. Not at all. It's about nurturing our health so we can actually grow stronger and more capable. And it all boils down to a few really powerful habits we can start building, literally, today. So here's our game plan for today. We've basically distilled all the secrets down into 5 key areas for a healthy future. We're going to talk about fueling your body, strengthening your frame, sharpening that mind, the importance of connecting and resting, and finally, how to build a proactive shield against illness. All right, let's kick things off with pillar number 1, fueling your body. This is so important because as we get older, what we eat becomes even more critical. It really requires a total shift in how we think about food. And to really get this shift, we got to talk about metabolism. Just think of it as your body's personal engine. It's what turns food into energy. The most important thing to understand here is that this engine, well, it naturally starts to run a little bit slower as the years go by. And that one fact changes everything.
And this slide, this really nails the biggest dietary change we need to make. See, with that slower metabolism, our bodies just don't need as many calories. But, and here's the secret, they need so much more nutritional value packed into every single calorie we eat. It's a complete flip from quantity to quality.
So, what does this new, nutrient-dense shopping list actually look like? Well, it's not complicated. It's all about prioritizing foods that are rich in fiber. Think apples and oats. Getting high-quality protein from things like fish and beans. Loading up on antioxidants from berries, and getting those amazing healthy fats from stuff like avocados and nuts. Okay, so we've got the fuel sorted. Now let's move on to pillar number 2, strengthening your frame. This is all about taking care of the physical structure that carries us through life, our muscles, and of course, our bones.
You know, the biggest enemy for our muscles as we age? It's not some complicated disease. It's just inactivity. But the solution is so much simpler than you'd think. The key number I want you to remember is 30. Just 30 minutes of gentle movement a day, a brisk walk, a little yoga, is enough to hold on to that vital muscle mass.
And what about our bones? Well, to keep them strong and fight off things like osteoporosis, it really comes down to a simple 3-part plan. First, you've got to fuel them with calcium from foods like leafy greens. Second, make sure you're getting enough vitamin D, ideally from the sun. And third, and this is so crucial, do some weight-bearing exercises a couple of times a week. That literally signals your bones to stay dense and strong.
A strong body is awesome, but it's only half the equation, right? So let's shift gears to pillar 3 and talk about the command center, sharpening your mind.
Now, here's a really powerful idea I took away from our source material. While your brain does age, a declining memory is not inevitable. The secret weapon to keeping it razor sharp is to simply never, ever stop learning.
So how do we actually do that? Well, it's about actively challenging your brain. Play strategy games like chess that make you think. Have conversations about new and different topics, not just the same old stuff. And try to make it a habit to learn one new thing every week or two, no matter how small it seems.
So we've covered the body and the mind, but of course, they don't operate in a bubble. That brings us to pillar 4, which covers 2 things we often push to the side: connecting with other people and getting real restorative rest.
We tend to think about health in very physical terms, right? But the source material highlights a silent threat that's just as dangerous: loneliness. And the cure for that? It's connection. And listen, this isn't just some feel-good idea. It has a real, measurable biological impact. When you connect with other people, it actually lowers your stress hormones, which in turn helps you control your blood pressure, blood sugar, and cholesterol. It's literally medicine for your body and your soul. Now, the other side of this coin is rest. Getting that solid 6 to 7 hours of quality sleep, that's when your body and brain do all their repair work. So here's a simple checklist with 6 steps to improve your sleep, from cutting out that late-night caffeine to making your bedroom a screen-free, peaceful sanctuary. All right, we're at our final pillar. This is all about building your proactive shield. It's about shifting your mindset from just reacting to health problems to actually preventing them from ever starting. And you know what? Your kitchen can be your first line of defense. Think of it as a natural pharmacy. It's as simple as eat more of this and eat less of that. Add in more natural anti-inflammatories like garlic and turmeric, while just cutting back on the stuff we all know causes problems, like too much salt, sugar, and fried foods. Being proactive also means knowing your numbers. Think of this list like the dashboard in your car, but for your body. Getting these regular checkups for key things like blood pressure, cholesterol, and vitamin levels, it's not about looking for trouble. It's about empowering yourself with information so you can catch any little issues early, when they're way easier to manage.
So when you put this all together, what's the big takeaway? It's that we need to completely reframe how we think about aging. It is not an inevitable decline. It's a chapter of life that we get to build with healthy habits. One that can be defined by strength, wisdom, and a kind of freedom you've never had before.
And that really leaves us with a final choice, doesn't it? Do we passively surrender to the old, tired stereotypes of aging, or do we actively build the habits to embrace it with all the strength and energy we truly deserve? The choice, as always, is yours. Thanks so much for joining me.